Dogs form bonds with their owners, but imprinting is an entirely different level of connection that most people completely miss. This profound attachment goes way beyond the typical human-dog relationship and reveals that your canine companion has chosen you as their person, their anchor in this world. It's a connection so deep that many owners don't even realize it's happening right under their noses. So let's dive into 8 behaviors that prove your dog has imprinted on you even though you might not have noticed. Following you to the bathroom. Now I know what you're thinking, this is just annoying, clingy behavior, right? Wrong. When your dog insists on accompanying you to the bathroom, they're displaying one of the clearest signs of imprinting. In the animal kingdom, being vulnerable is dangerous, and there's hardly a more vulnerable moment than when you're in the bathroom. Your dog knows this instinctively, and their need to follow you isn't about being nosy, it's about protection and companionship. They're essentially standing guard, making sure you're safe during what they perceive as a vulnerable time. This behavior stems from pack mentality, where members don't leave each other exposed to potential threats. If your dog has imprinted on you, they see it as their responsibility to watch over you no matter where you go. Even if that means sitting outside the bathroom door staring at you while you brush your teeth or following you into the shower. It might seem excessive, but to them it's a sacred duty. They're not just being clingy, they're fulfilling what they see as their role in your pack. This constant proximity seeking, especially during vulnerable moments, is something most owners brush off as neediness when it's actually a profound display of bonded behavior, bringing you their most prized possessions. We're not talking about them bringing you a random stick from the yard. When a dog has truly imprinted on you, they'll bring you their absolute favorite things, the toys they guard from other pets, the treats they've been saving, or that disgusting chew bone they've had for months. This behavior is rooted in resource sharing, which in the canine world is reserved only for the most trusted pack members. Dogs are naturally possessive of their valued items, so willingly sharing them with you or presenting them as gifts is incredibly significant. Think about it, in wild canine societies, sharing food and resources is a sign of deep trust and pack bonding. Your domesticated dog is following the same instinct when they drop their beloved squeaky toy at your feet. They're not asking you to play necessarily, they're offering you something precious. It's their way of saying you're worthy of my most valuable possessions. Some dogs will even bring these items and leave them near you without any expectation of interaction. They simply want you to have access to the things that bring them joy and comfort. This sharing behavior is often overlooked because owners assume the dog just wants attention or playtime. But pay closer attention to which toys they bring and when. If it's always their favorite and they seem content just leaving it with you, that's imprinting in action. They're integrating you into their resource circle, which is one of the highest honors a dog can bestow, positioning themselves between you and strangers. This protective stance is subtle but incredibly telling. When you're out on a walk or someone new enters your home, does your dog naturally position themselves between you and the unfamiliar person? This isn't aggression, it's strategic protection. Dogs who have imprinted on their owners develop an instinctive need to act as a buffer between their person and potential threats. This behavior is deeply rooted in pack dynamics, where higher-ranking members are protected by those loyal to them. Your dog isn't necessarily trying to attack or intimidate the stranger, they're simply creating a physical barrier, just in case. You might notice them sitting directly in front of you when someone approaches, or walking slightly ahead of you on the sidewalk when passing other people. This positioning is deliberate and calculated. They're reading the situation and placing themselves in the optimal position to intervene if needed. Many owners don't even notice this happening because it's so smooth and natural. The dog doesn't make a fuss or create a scene, they just quietly adjust their position. This protective behavior extends to other situations too. If you're sitting on the couch and someone approaches, your dog might casually move to sit on your feet or lean against your legs. Again, this seems like they just want pets, but they're actually claiming their position as your guardian. It's a subtle declaration that says, this is my person, and I'm monitoring the situation. Dogs who haven't imprinted might be friendly to everyone or indifferent to spatial dynamics, but an imprinted dog is always aware of where you are and who's nearby, syncing their sleep schedule with yours. Beyond just sleeping in your bed, there's something even more telling about how imprinted dogs handle sleep. They actually adjust their entire sleep schedule to match yours. Dogs naturally sleep in multiple short bursts throughout the day and night, but when they've imprinted on someone, they'll fight their natural rhythms to stay awake when you're awake and sleep when you sleep. Notice how your dog seems to know when it's bedtime, even without any obvious cues, or how they're ready to wake up right around the time your alarm goes off. This synchronization isn't coincidental. They've attuned themselves to your patterns because being available and present for you takes priority over their natural sleep cycles. Research shows that dogs are incredibly perceptive to their owners' routines, and an imprinted dog takes this to another level. They'll stay up late if you're working on a project, even though they're clearly tired. They'll wake up early on weekends if you do, even though there's no real reason for it. This sleep synchronization serves multiple purposes. First, it ensures they're always available if you need them. Second, it maximizes the time they can spend in your presence. And third, it reinforces the pack bond through shared rhythms and routines. In wolf packs, members often synchronize their activity patterns to maintain cohesion, and your dog is doing the same thing. Most owners assume their dog just happens to sleep when they sleep, but if you pay attention, you'll notice your dog actually fighting drowsiness to stay up with you or forcing themselves awake to match your schedule. This self-regulation of their natural patterns is a massive indicator of imprinting that goes completely unnoticed by most people. Extreme excitement at your return regardless of absence length. Here's where it gets interesting. All dogs get happy when their owners come home, but an imprinted dog shows the same level of intense excitement whether you've been gone for 5 minutes or 5 hours. You know that moment when you take the trash out and come back 30 seconds later and your dog acts like you've returned from war? That's imprinting. For most dogs, the excitement level corresponds to the length of absence. But for an imprinted dog, any separation triggers the same response, because to them being apart from you is equally distressing regardless of duration. This happens because they're not just happy to see you, they're experiencing relief that you've returned to them. Each separation creates a small anxiety response in their brain, and your return floods them with joy and relief hormones. The length of time doesn't matter because the emotional impact of separation is the same. This behavior is often dismissed as the dog being dramatic or overly excitable. Owners might even try to train it out of them, thinking it's excessive. But this enthusiasm isn't about poor impulse control, it's about the depth of their attachment to you. They genuinely cannot contain their emotions when you return because you are the center of their world. An imprinted dog doesn't just see you as a provider or companion, they see you as essential to their existence. So whether you left for 2 minutes or 2 hours, the reunion is equally momentous. They might spin in circles, whine, cry, or even howl with excitement. Some dogs will grab a toy and parade around with it, others will press their entire body against you, as if trying to merge into one being. This intensity of greeting that remains consistent regardless of time apart is one of the most overlooked signs of true imprinting. Refusing food when you're not home. This one surprises most people because we think of dogs as food-motivated creatures who will eat whenever food is available. But dogs who have imprinted on their owners will often refuse to eat if their person isn't present. You might notice that when you go on vacation and leave your dog with a sitter, they barely touch their food. Or when you're at work all day, the food bowl remains full until you return. This isn't pickiness or stubbornness, it's a manifestation of their deep bond with you. Eating is a vulnerable activity in the animal kingdom, and many imprinted dogs only feel safe enough to eat when their trusted person is nearby. Additionally, food has become so associated with you that eating without your presence feels wrong to them. You're part of their eating ritual, and without you the experience is incomplete. Some dogs will even take food from their bowl and bring it to where you're sitting so they can eat near you. This behavior shows that sharing the experience of eating with you is more important than the food itself. Veterinarians and behaviorists often see this in dogs whose owners travel frequently. The dogs maintain their health but show reduced appetite until the owner returns, at which point they resume normal eating patterns. Most owners don't connect this behavior to imprinting because it's usually reported by pet sitters or noticed indirectly. But if you've ever had someone tell you your dog didn't eat much while you were away, that's a significant sign. The dog isn't being difficult, they're simply so bonded to you that even basic survival activities like eating feel incomplete without your presence, displaying your emotions before you fully feel them. This goes beyond reading your current mood. Dogs who have imprinted on you can actually sense emotional shifts before you're consciously aware of them yourself. They pick up on microexpressions, changes in breathing patterns, subtle shifts in body language, and even chemical changes in your scent that signal an emotional change is coming. You might notice your dog becoming clingy or attentive moments before you realize you're about to cry. Or they might become playful and energetic right before you consciously recognize you're feeling happy. This predictive emotional awareness is extraordinary and shows just how deeply they're tuned into you. They're not just reacting to your emotions, they're anticipating them. This happens because imprinted dogs study their owners constantly. They're always watching, learning, and cataloging your patterns. They know that certain facial muscle movements precede sadness or that particular breathing rhythms come before anxiety. They've essentially become experts in reading you specifically, not just humans in general, but you as an individual. Most owners attribute this to coincidence or think all dogs have this ability, but the truth is only deeply imprinted dogs develop this level of predictive emotional intelligence with their specific person. They might not show this same ability with other family members or strangers. It's reserved exclusively for the person they've imprinted on. This behavior often goes unnoticed because the timing is so subtle. By the time you recognize your own emotion, your dog is already responding, and you assume they're just reacting to what you're currently feeling rather than what you're about to feel, choosing you over everything else, including their favorite activities. The ultimate sign of imprinting that most owners completely miss is when your dog consistently chooses you over things they absolutely love. Picture this: your dog is playing with their best dog friend at the park, having the time of their life, but the moment you start walking toward the exit, they abandon the play session without hesitation to follow you. Or they're in the middle of eating their favorite treat, but they drop it immediately when you move to another room. This prioritization of your presence over their own desires and pleasures is the pinnacle of imprinting. It demonstrates that being with you supersedes everything else in their world. Most dogs can be distracted by food, play, or other exciting stimuli, but an imprinted dog maintains a constant awareness of where you are and what you're doing, even when engaged in activities they love. They'll interrupt their own joy to ensure they don't lose track of you. This isn't trained behavior or obedience, it's pure instinct driven by their bond with you. You are more rewarding to them than any treat, more important than any game, and more necessary than any comfort. Owners often don't recognize this as significant because it seems like normal dog behavior, but compare it to how dogs act with other people. Would your dog leave their dinner to follow your neighbor into another room? Probably not. This selective prioritization, where you always come first, no matter what, is the clearest evidence that your dog has completely and totally imprinted on you, making you the single most important thing in their entire existence.